Walking out of Target with a big bag of stuff. Big bag of stuff, yo. It's cool. It's San Francisco. Nothing happens. Solution to San Francisco's theft problem. What up, internet world? It's your boy Jermaine back with another video. Now, guys, I was in Target earlier today, and I was walking down the escalators, and I noticed there's a guy, there's a bunch of security, pushing him out. He's near like the cash register area. Then he's just grabbing things and sticking them in a bag, and they're sort of like walking them downstairs, right? And then I pull out the camera, start filming. This guy just completely like walks out of the store, okay? Completely walks out of the store. Now, security, they're not supposed to touch him. So if the security can't touch the person, can't touch the person leaving, so that means that they can just take stuff and like leave, right? Now, what if it's over $950? I mean, I guess the security still can't touch them, right? So just watch this person like walk out of the shop. And I was just looking at a couple of my other videos, I was looking at some of the comments, and people said, like, what are they gonna do about this? What are they gonna do about this? Now, one thing I've noticed in the city, everyone wants to point the finger at the police. All right. If you ever hear someone saying, "Oh, it's the police fault," don't pay them any attention. Okay, because it's not the police. It's not the police fault here. The police can't go arrest someone when, the police chief say, "Look, don't arrest these people for this." So like you can only follow rules, right? When you're a cop, you can only do what they say do. They say don't bring anyone in for, stealing stuff out of a shop. Don't bring them in for stealing stuff out of a shop. You just have to follow the rules. Now, a lot of people who are a little bit more smarter have figured out, okay, it's Chelsea Bolton. He is very popular in San Francisco because he it was really his fault. It's kind of his fault why the city is sort of falling apart the way it is, because he's like, look, don't prosecute people for, low-level crimes. And the reason why he feels this way is because his parents killed someone, and his parents had to go to jail. And he went to visit his parents like on the weekends all the time. And when he, went throughout his life, and he had to, go and visit his parents like in jail, and he hated that. So when he became, a popular figure in the city, he says, look, low-level crimes are out the window for me. So a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, this guy's just horrible. Like, he's horrible. He's just letting everyone get away with crimes. But you kind of have to sort of look at his point of view. Now, I'm not going to really talk about his point of view. That's just his point of view. I could totally understand why some people would agree with that. Totally understand why people would disagree with that. But I'm not really going to talk about him because he is sort of the GOAT right now. But on the flip side, we got all this shoplifting going on. Now, since we had all this shoplifting going on in the city, we've had a lot of stores close. Now, people have asked me in live streams over and over and over, yo, Jermaine, has the shoplifting always been this bad in the city? And I've said this same line a couple times before in different live streams. So before the pandemic, it was a lot of shoplifting going on. But there's a big difference before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, it was a lot more stores open. It's a lot more places open for business, right? So if you were a professional shoplifter, like that is actually a career, a professional shoplifter, people who, go in there and just steal the whole racks of stuff and go sell it on the internet. If you're professional, back then you had more places to shoplift from. There was a lot more CVS stores, a lot more Walgreens stores, all the stores in the mall were open. I mean, you really had a lot more places to choose from to go shoplift, right? Nowadays, with the pandemic in place, a lot of places have pretty much went out of business. Not only have a lot of places went out of business, the places that are still in business, some of them have actually seen their sales drop too, right? You have a CVS store here, and this CVS store is doing less volume than it was a couple years ago. And then also the other CVS stores in that neighborhood, they're closed down, right? So you have stores doing, some stores doing less volume because there's just less people in the city, right? And then you have the same amount of people still shoplifting, if not more people shoplifting. So yeah, this situation is going to get, really bad really fast, right? But a lot of times when you have something you want to implement, you need to come up with you need to create a problem, and then you can implement your solution, okay? Now, I don't have a crystal ball here. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but this is just me thinking outside the box, okay? And just thinking about how things are ran, and just me just thinking outside the box here. Okay, so myself, I've done a lot of traveling around the world, and one thing I've noticed with smaller countries that I've been to, different places in different countries are used for different things. Some places are used for slums. Some places are used for all the tourists go there. Some places are used for lots of military, lots of government. Different parts of different countries are used for different things. So when you look at America, you look at New York, right? Very expensive. It's a big city, lots of finance, lots of fashion. Like, that's that hub of the city. You look at Hollywood, right? LA. This is the movie scene. There's a lot of fashion over here. You look at San Francisco, this is more of a tech area, right? You look at the southern region of the country. You have home values that are typically a whole lot lower, and culture is very, very different, and lifestyle is very, very different. Climate is very, very different. Okay, so different parts of the country, you have different, different life, right? For different parts of the country. Now, for the U.S., if you look at San Francisco is a very small city. It's a very small city. And a lot of people have said in the past that San Francisco is an excellent test city for the U.S., right? It's a really good test city. The U.S. has a population of more than 330 million people living in America. San Francisco has a population of what? Less than 800,000 people. So it represents a very small percent of the country, right? A couple of years ago when I was in New York, I went to a Chase Bank. Now, living in San Francisco, I would go to Chase Bank all the time. And 3 or 4 years ago, no, I want to say 5 years ago, in San Francisco, you could go to Chase Bank and you could withdraw money from the ATM without a debit card. You could use the app, and they would send you a code on the app, and you would just punch that code into the ATM, and the ATM knew that you had the code because the Bluetooth, I think, from the phone connected to the ATM, it knew you was there, basically, right? So it worked. I had been used to using that in San Francisco for a couple of years. I went over to New York and didn't have my debit card, right? Because like I say, like SF, don't really use it. Use Apple Pay for a lot of things, and then I would just, if I needed to get cash out of the ATM, I would just use the app, right? I get over to New York, and they're like, "Oh no, we've never heard of that. We've never heard of that." And I'm like, "Really? You never heard of that?" And I was like, "No, it's too much fraud in New York for us to be doing something like that. We gotta no." And then she asked someone else. The lady asked someone else, and she asked someone else, and she said, "Oh yeah, in San Francisco, they always test products like that, like out in San Francisco, like that. That's a test area." Also, we can also look at the sharing economy. Look at the sharing economy. If you guys want to check out the sharing economy, go look at some of my old videos on this channel. I was driving for Uber back in the day when Uber, right when it just really started to take off. All of those sharing economy jobs, all of those jobs started right here in the Bay Area, right? You take Uber, Lyft, Postmates, so many of those jobs started right here. Airbnb was invented right here in San Francisco. You have a lot of innovation that have just come right out of here, and it started here first. It worked out here, and then it left here, and then went to other places. It left here, and it spread. Okay, and this is where I come up with the whole deal. San Francisco is a test city. You can even look at certain diseases back in the 60s and 70s, it popped out in San Francisco. I mean, look at motion picture. I mean, video. San Francisco. I mean, Gold Rush. I mean, a lot of things happen like right here in San Francisco. And what I think is going on, and it's happening right here in front of our eyes, while there's people out there pointing the finger at the police, or there are people screaming at Chelsea Bolton, I think what's about to go down in SF is going to be one of the first cities that for real go digital in the U.S. And you got to create a problem. When you have a solution that you want to push out there to people, you got to create a problem, right? The problem is massive theft. The problem is if it's not a cop there, you really can't go after someone for stealing. That's a big problem. That's a big problem. So what do I think is going to happen? I think these San Francisco laws are going to force companies to go digital and go online. They're going to force companies. Like how long can a place like Target survive in the city when you have people coming in about, like, I don't know how frequent people are stealing from that store. But let me tell you something. Every time I go there, I see someone jacking stuff. Every single time I go there. And I don't work there. Like, I'm there randomly. But every single time, I mean, just imagine if I was security. Like, it would just be my job, right? Like, I would just see it all day. How long is that going to last for? How long is that going to last for? The reason why I'm making these videos, I think it's just a matter of time before some of these big stores just start closing their doors, yo. They're going to start closing their doors. Like, this is just my whole guess here. This is my whole guess, because think about Target, right? Think about this massive store they got at 4th and 4th and Mission. They got this massive store. With this massive store, you gotta pay for the square footage. That's a premium, because it's right there, smack dead in the middle of downtown. Not only that, you got to pay for massive insurance, because look how big your store is. Look at all these customers coming in. What if somebody walks in, slips and falls on the floor, right? So you got to have insurance. Larger the store, the more insurance is. And then you got to think about all the theft that goes on. Theft, like the bigger your store, the easier it is to steal, right? So a company like Target, if they really wanted to, for real, go digital, they could easily do it, with their app. They could easily do it. You want to get some stuff from Target, you go to the app, you say, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. You at your house, right? I want this, I want that. Bam, you can have someone deliver it to you. Or you could just go down there and pick it up. And then instead of Target having this big store, they can have a much, much, much smaller store. It doesn't have to be in the mall. It doesn't have to be in the Metreon or whatever. It can be in a smaller warehouse. It could be way more efficient. Like, they could have, all the products like all like tight up in there, and they got the little employees going in there like with a little order. Oh, yep, this, put that in there, get this, put that in there, put this, get that in there. They could easily like get rid of that. And then we could for real be like the first city in the US where shopping has changed, right? I mean, this is just what I'm thinking, right? Here's what I'm thinking. I'm looking at the history of this city. I'm looking at how the sharing economy got started here, and how when it first got started, people are like, man, this is crazy. Like, you jumping in the car with a random person? That's the same thing I was saying. But now look at Uber. You jump in a car with a random person, it's not even a big deal. Like, you don't even care who the person is. You don't even care who the person is. A couple of years ago, it was like, man, you get in the car with a random person. Sometimes when things happen, you have to like sit back and look at the past and see like how they unfolded, right? See how they unfolded. Look at all this shoplifting, right? All this shoplifting going on. That's creating a problem. That's creating a big problem. What is the solution? Some people say like more police is the solution. More police is not the solution when the police don't arrest the people. Okay, more police is not the solution when they cannot arrest people. You can have an army of freaking police out there. You could have 500 freaking police in that Target. But if the police won't arrest people for stealing, that's not the answer. Okay, so what about changing the laws? Changing the laws would definitely work. But I don't think changing the laws would really do that much justice, because if you did change the laws, now you're gonna need a lot more police, right? I just don't think changing the law. I just don't think that they're gonna change the laws. Now, you may think that they're gonna change the laws. You may hope that they're gonna change the laws, but I just think it's a fairy tale if they're gonna change the laws, because they've already changed them, and I think it would just be a fairy tale if they changed them back. Maybe they could, maybe they won't. This is my whole guess for the city. And then look at a company like Target. This is how companies are going to make money in the future, yo. They're going to have to cut costs. They're going to have to cut costs. They're gonna have to cut costs. They're gonna have to get rid of employees. They're gonna have to get rid of square footage, yo. Just think about if CVS and Walgreens just got rid of all their stores in San Francisco, right? And they just made like little micro stores where, like, you know, delivery people would go up, pick up the items, and then deliver it, you know, to people's houses. These companies would make a lot more money, yo. They would be making a lot more money. Now, one huge thing that they probably don't want is one thing that stores really appreciate. They appreciate having people in their stores because they know when people go in the store, they may go in the store to get eggs. The person has to walk all the way to the back of the store to get the eggs. So you're passing by all these other items to get those eggs. In grocery stores and places like Target, they make a lot of money off of putting those eggs in the back of the grocery store because, once again, you go to the grocery store just to get eggs, okay? And you pick up 4 or 5 things along the way. Now, if you are online shopping, you may not have as many impulse buys. You may only get the eggs. But then with a minimum, with a $35 minimum for online shopping, well, I guess people are gonna get more items because instead of just getting the eggs, because you just need the eggs, now you might get some eggs and some detergent and, you know, some toothpaste and you know, more things, because you need to hit that $35 limit, and you actually don't even need the toothpaste and you don't need the laundry detergent, but you're trying to hit that $35 limit. So once again, they're gonna get you spending more money. So I mean, that's just kind of how I see it. I'm very bullish on, you know, the whole new tech world. I just think small business is for real on its way out. Like, no joke. I think small business is slowly on its way out, and I think these big companies they're gonna rival, yo. Especially Amazon. And watch out for Shopify too, yo. Watch out for Shopify. They coming, dude. They coming. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to make a video, just throwing this out there. Like, this is something I've been thinking about. I just want to put it in a video. I want to share it with you guys. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you again later. Bye-bye.